there. Some of you think that I'm actually Jack Sparrow, but I'm not. I'm a very famous flag officer from the British Royal Navy, which means I was basically a very important captain of a ship. My name is Lord Admiral Horatio Nelson, not Jack Sparrow, and I'm here to tell you about a very famous battle that took place where I got my fame from. As you can see, I've only got one eye. One eye that works because this one was actually damaged when something flew into it from the Battle of Corsica. As you can see, I've only got one hand. I actually lost this arm when someone shot me with a musket. It actually is a bit of a funny story because it hit me in the funny bone in many places and they had to cut my arm off. That's why you tend to see me with just one arm. This is HMS Victory. What I'd like you to do now is look down at your school shirt or your school jumper. You should see a bit of a boat on that. Have a look for me. That boat is actually HMS Victory. That's a very famous boat that I'm going to introduce you to now. HMS Victory was top of the line. A little bit like a Ferrari of the sea. She was a 104 gun ship, which meant that she had smooth steel cannons like this one all around her. She was so good, what a beauty. A blast from one of these could put a hole the size of a small car into the side of your ship. She was equipped for excellent battle. This magnificent ship had 3 glorious masts, a little bit like this, and it was made of 3 special kinds of wood. We had pine, we had elm, and we had oak. And these beautiful masts are what drove this ship on the glorious seas. This is the poop deck of HMS Victory. This was an important part of the boat where I, as flagship captain, would send signals and commands to the other ships in my fleet. And I would be the commander of a great army, the British Army, the British Navy, in fact. This was the poop deck. It's a glorious ship, isn't she? HMS Victory. But I'm not here just to show off my fancy boat. I'm here to talk to you about the Battle of Trafalgar. And when I talk about the Battle of Trafalgar, I'm not talking about those wonderful garage sales and that glorious carnival that you have every year. I'm actually talking about a battle, a fight between 2 very big armies that occurred very long ago. Back in the 1800s, in fact. And it was a magnificent battle that I will go into a little bit of detail for you now. So the Battle of Trafalgar was between 2 armies that occurred in the War of the Third Coalition. It happened on the 21st of October, 1805, a very long time ago. And it was between my team, which was the British Army, and they were fighting against the French and the Spanish. And the French bad guy that I was up against was that small fella that you might have heard of, Napoleon. He was very big during his time, and it was up to us, the British, to fight this very important battle, which happened just off the coast of Spain in the Atlantic Ocean. In fact, it happened just off the coast of a place called the Cape of Trafalgar, which is where we get the name Battle of Trafalgar from, and where we get the name of Trafalgar the town, or Trafalgar Primary School. All of those places were named after this place here. It was a most epic battle between 2 armies. We had the British, my side. We only had 22 ships, 22 of these beauties. And we were up against the Spanish and the French, who had 33. Can you believe it? 33 ships. How could we do it? How could we succeed? But I had a plan, a very cunning plan. For my plan of attack, I had a nifty idea of cutting the enemy's line of ships into 2 small groups that would be easy to find. And to show you what I plan to do, I've got dominoes for the French ships, and I've got Jenga blocks for the British ships, our team.
My ships were in 2 straight lines, as you can see here. We had the French army here, and what I was going to do was I was going to sail in this one here, down through the middle of the Spanish and French fleets, just like that. And at the same time, my other group of British fleets were going to sail this way around through the Spanish and French ships. What was going to happen was this was going to create 1, 2, 3 smaller groups of ships that we'd be able to fight on either side because we had cannons on either side of the ships. And it would also confuse the captain and the person who was in charge of organising the French ships. He wouldn't know what to do. He wouldn't be able to give his directions, so all the other ships would be a little bit lost as well. It was going to be a brilliant plan, and it would definitely and hopefully well succeed.
So it was the 21st of October. We'd come up with our plan, and at 11:45 I sent the signal. All of the ships were ready to go after that, and we started off in our 2 lines. My ship, HMS Victory, started heading towards the centre of the Spanish and the French ships. We started heading out, but all of a sudden there was cannon fire, and our ship was struck from all sides. All of a sudden, a ship came over, and the mast caught on with my mast, and 6 Frenchmen leapt onto my ship, and I didn't know what to do. In fact, I got shot in the shoulder. It was horrible. It was really bad, and I was in pain, like this, lying here, and one of my crew members had to take me underneath the ship, and I was still giving instructions. That's how good a leader I was. Still giving instructions, and we were able to manage to get rid of all of the masts from the other ship. We pulled ourselves together, and we kept going. So we managed to cut the mast free. The Victory was still under fire, but all of a sudden, one of the other British ships came up from our line and started defending us. We managed to get away, and in fact, we managed to turn the situation around. We were able to take over 22 of the other ships, 22 of them, and we didn't lose a single one of the British ships. That's how good we were. And I was still wounded, but able to give my directions, and we were facing victory. But all of a sudden, just as victory was coming, there was a gigantic storm and wind started to pick up. The masts were swaying. The ships were moving as the wind brought us closer and closer to the shore. We were able to look out from underneath the ship, and we could see that some of the other ships from the French fleet that had been burnt were running aground, and they were becoming shipwrecked because of this storm. But we had won! The British had won, and it was a most marvellous victory. Very famous, very exciting. I actually died during this battle, probably a few moments after the storm had started. It was a very important victory. I became a hero. I was returned back to England, and even though, as I said, I had died, I was remembered for the magnificent leadership I had shown on this boat. Even though I'd been shot in the shoulder and I'd been taken down beneath the deck, I had actually been giving orders, been directing and encouraging my crew as they fought the French and the Spanish. And I was remembered for my heroism, for my bravery, for my courage. And because of that, there are many places that are actually named after me. Take, for example, in London, there's the Trafalgar Square, where there's actually a very important looking statue of me, looking just like this. It's called Nelson's Column. But have a think back to where you live in Trafalgar. That whole town is named after the Battle of Trafalgar. You have Nelson, the restaurant that used to be there. You've got a statue that looks a little bit like Nelson's Column in London, and that is the one that's next to the Bendigo Bank. And that is me doing this pose too. But there are many other things. There's Victory Park. There's the ship that is on your school jacket. All of those things are in memory of this magnificent battle, of the story that I have to tell. And that is why it's important to know about and to know about this battle.